Okay, I think I'm on now. All right. How y'all doing? How is everybody doing? And how's the world doing? Um, I'm just here, man, waiting for my food to come. I got things to do, but I just felt like, okay, let me sit here and try to understand what's really going on with cryptocurrency because, one of the most important things I feel for me, if you're gonna leave your place of birth or your place where you grew up at, the place where you call home, and go and venture somewhere else, you know, especially now in 2021, it's very important to have a way to constantly create an income where you don't depend, on certain things that might restrict you from expressing yourself or doing the things that you love the most. And so you got to pick and choose your battle. So now, once you find that courage to leave the nest and go somewhere else, of course, you're gonna have a lot of difficulties at time, and certain things you're gonna than the people there. And so, with that said, man, I'm just here sitting here thinking out loud, yeah, and trying to understand why the cryptocurrency invested in Hbar went up all of a sudden, and then right after the second anniversary celebration went all the way down. And so in that case, a lot of people will panic. When I say a lot of people, that's including myself. A lot of us will panic and whether try to take out our money from the market or change it and buy, sell it and then buy another cryptocurrency that may be more, I guess, more hopeful, I guess. You know, but in a situation like that, whenever a cryptocurrency goes down, or whenever you invest in something that you believed in at first, because the key point is not about the stock or that thing that you invested in going down. That's not the most that's not the thing to fear. To be scared about. What's more scary is investing in something that you don't know about, or you don't understand, you don't fully understand it. So if you're to invest, let's say at can I consider everything is good? Okay, I'm gonna hold on. This is that mama's cookie, man. You understand what I'm saying? This is that mama's cookie. So with that said, mama's cookie is good. Extra salt. But what I'm trying to say here is whenever you invest in a cryptocurrency, let me just stick with cryptocurrency. Whenever you invest in a cryptocurrency and you put all your money, you go all in, and the very next day everything seems to go down, right? So there's nothing to fear. This is basically the point where I'm getting at. There's nothing to fear because if that thing that you invested in, you understood it and you understood what it's bringing to the table, then it's just a matter of it going back up. Now, one of the strategies that I use, and I think people like Robert, you know, the author that wrote Rich Dad Poor Dad, right? I don't want to mess up his name. Kawasaki, Robert Kawasaki, Robert Yamakasi, Robert something Cassie, right? And so, and I apologize if I messed up the man's name because a lot of people mess up my name as well. So this is just a normal thing. But one of the strategies that he uses whenever you invest in I guess in cryptocurrency, right? I know he's a big time investor of real estate, but whenever 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 he invests in cryptocurrencies, one of his strategies is basically you keep buying as the stock or the cryptocurrency is going down, right? So now we are talking about H bar. The first time I invested in H bar, it was at 25 cents, right? So back in March. It was at 25 cents, and then eventually went up to the maximum that he went on while I invested in was 56, right? Of course, between that, I bought and I sold. I bought and I sold, right? Try to increase my return, I guess. And then, so with that said, but now all of a sudden, at the moment where you think that, oh man, this is going to the moon, right? It's skyrocketed to the moon. There's a second year anniversary. The hype is just going to be even realer than before, right? It's going to be that real, the hype. And so you realize the very next day as you wake up, your stock is going down. It keeps going down. It keeps going down. So that's the moment where most of us will panic. That's that point where we usually panic. And so what I'm here to say is that, okay, we're not here to panic, and we shouldn't panic. What we should do again is use a method where, or the strategy where, as the stock is going down, you keep buying more. Because if you believe that the technology, now we're talking about technology, if you believe that the technology or the cryptocurrency, I don't like the word currency, it should be crypto value because it's a value, right? The currency just comes and mess up everything. Because people, oh, what's cryptocurrency? The currency is actually money. What we're talking about here, it's not really money. It's not money, it's value. Bitcoin is value, Ethereum is a value, right? So when you transfer Bitcoin to another person, what you transfer is a value, right? It's not solely, it's not money. It's something of a value. It could be a contract of my house that I'm selling it to you, but because I use the blockchain to sell it to you, I use the Bitcoin to sell it to you, right? But in the form of a contract. So the value of that contract is the house. And the information on there can be changed or interchanged because it's on the blockchain. Okay. So the word currency, we gotta try to take that away if we're just coming into the game and trying to invest. So my strategy at this point, I'm thinking, because I'm thinking out loud, is basically to keep investing as it's going down, because the currency already proved to you that it's able to go up to 56. It did that. So then it's up to the people, behind the cryptocurrency, to prove to the masses, to, what I mean, by way of proof and facts, not just by way of speaking and saying things. This is not a thing where you come in front of the people and start making false promises. It's a thing where, technically and factually, you just prove to the world that, this cryptocurrency is actually working towards accomplishing what he said he will accomplish, or actually, proving that he's doing that. So that's when the value of that cryptocurrency comes up. But because you already initially believed in this cryptocurrency, then you'll understand that the potential or the practicability of it coming up, it's there, right? Because there's nothing else that can contradict that. So therefore, you will keep buying this one stock, this one cryptocurrency. Uh, you know, you keep buying it as it's going down. So this is where I am with it. Now when I'm looking at Hbar at 42, right, and it's very alarming to me because remember, even at 56 I bought some. So when you do the math in reverse, you know, there's a lot of loss there. But again, how the market works, if you're just to buy a cryptocurrency and hold it in a wallet, that's different. Then you are dependent on whatever value it takes. But if you are someone like myself, where I'm abroad and I depend on the money that I'm generating from these investments. So therefore, every now and then, like now, I'll take time to sit down and take 30 minutes, try to understand what's going on in the market and either buy or sell, right? And then do it again later on, sometimes in the day, right? With that said, in this situation where a cryptocurrency is going down like an eighth bar, you just keep buying more. That's the strategy that I'm using, and this strategy, I've noticed it with Robert Kawasaki. Let me just go with Kawasaki, but I'm pretty sure that I'm butchering his last name, but it's the same author that brought to you Hey Rich, again Rich Dad trying. Rich Dad Poor Dad. So with that said, I'm just going to enjoy my food. Have a good day. But if anyone has any questions about how we can have a better and keep it then be more than glad to have if I can bring some more sense to the person's way of thinking, then I'll do it. But as for me, because I'm living abroad and a lot of times it's very difficult to just feel like you're local or you belong somewhere. And so, it's a great thing that the technology blockchain came to the scene. And so we already know that it's decentralized and things of that nature. So there's a lot of activities that you can conduct under the so-called decentralized environment and survive or thrive that way, excel that way. All in when it comes to cryptocurrency, but at the same time, all that Hong Kong is burning. And when I'm saying that Hong Kong is burning, sometimes yes, it's very hot, very hot. But at the same time, it's like I always wonder why it becomes then difficult to have conversations with people because a lot of people will tell you like, no, that's too sensitive. I can't talk about that because then it may jeopardize my workplace and things that I need to. So and then you you have to kind of be a friend where it's kind of difficult to have certain conversations because they don't know what's your intention. They don't know what's behind your questioning, and then so. But I always feel like there's so much information that circulates in this type of environment like Hong Kong that it's just not an easy thing to get somebody to sit down with you and then mm. But with that said, I'm gonna have a game of chess because I don't want you to watch me eating. But I'm waiting for my men to come in so we can have more conversation. I'm gonna have a game of chess for now. Share my screen here. Feel free to ask me because you see that's the thing now. You can't have conversation with everybody. Because a lot of us, I won't say that they are part of the go along get along gang. I won't say that they are part of that. But what I would say is that yes, there are policies in place that restrict people from from just talking out loud and expressing themselves freely because they are dependent on whatever task or opportunities that came to them, and so they don't want to jeopardize that by talking that may put them in a bad light. And sometimes to me, and the person that you're talking to is fine. then they can forward, and then so we can tap into really get the information. It's sold now sold, right? That's how it should be. So yeah, I'm just gonna have a game of chess. The Akoin, the Akon's coin, right? Akon, the artist, the entrepreneur, the humanitarian, the philanthropist, and light bulb. Light bulb can light up. But you'll still have to be here productive. At some point, you put that light bulb, light up. So I productive. That light bulb seems like a good thing in the future. And so it will make you but you will not do something that you want to put all your money into. Right? Because you'll still be waiting for the fact that another company, another person will send something to create your wires to be able to build up electricity that you need. So that's how we got to be careful when we choosing. But most of the time, um, you're not gonna fail if you're investing in something that's at the bottom, meaning at the foundational level.
Kind of a willful dismissal of what's really going on.
I think we're unique because now, as you can see, we are in a studio atmosphere. We're not in a remote atmosphere anymore. But then how do we kind of continue to use StreamYard is pretty much every show we have has a remote guest in. So we bring our remote guests through StreamYard. We have virtual events still with all of our season ticket holders and our VIP clients. All of that is going to be produced through StreamYard. I think we're unique because now, as you can see, we are in a studio atmosphere. We're not.
Yeah, Mike Tyson. Where does Mike Tyson interview, man? I bet David asked him if he had any advice for someone who's trying to be the best. So I kind of like what Mike Tyson said. So I gotta get and I like the answer what Mike Tyson said.
So he's bigger than with me.
You hang with a lot of the younger guys right now that are boxing. The pigeon, that's just that kind of sounds strange. What you just said. Mindset of wanting to be the best. What is the mindset you can transfer to somebody?
But it's funny how Mike Tyson is like, he's like to Patrick.
I don't know.
They're gonna fight for what they love.
What business do you have? Tell Mike Tyson, listen, if I want to be the best in my business, what I do, Mike Tyson is trying to what Patrick does. But what the answer that Mike Tyson gave, or the advice that he gave to everybody, you know, it's something to really keep in mind. And I'm sure some of you guys heard it already, but I just felt like he sounded better from Mike Tyson.
Elementary is
In our business. This business.
They're gonna fight for what they love for.
Hey, I want in a different industry. Okay. I want to be the best of the best. You became a heavyweight champion, youngest ever. If I want to be the best in my sport, say this business, what tips would you give me? I want to be the best in our business. This business. This is insurance. They're building their businesses. But just the mindset of wanting to be the best. What is the mindset you can transfer to somebody being the best?
This was probably the first guy really succeeded on this shit. Probably 1900 or something like that. Even if you were a crook.
Want to be the best of the best. Like you became a heavyweight champion, youngest ever. If I want to be the best in my sport, say this business, what tips would you give me? I want to be the best business. What tips would you give me? I want to be the best in my sport, say this business. What tips would you give me? I want to be the best in our business. This is insurance. They're building their business. But just the mindset of wanting to be the best. What is the mindset you can transfer to somebody being the best?
This first guy really succeeded on 1900. Even if you were a crook. Let's go from there. Go from all the way there, and read all the way till you get to you. Okay.
So one study.
Okay.
One study history.
Study until it gets to you. Then you realize those people just you in funny clothes.
Okay. So one, fantastic. I got to go study this for everybody that came before me. What else do I do?
Then you watch you read everything they did. Now you practice it. Now let's see what this shit really work.
Can you teach desire, or the desire has to come from somebody?
You can inspire desire. But can you teach it? I don't know.
Fantastic. I got to go study this for everybody that came before me. What else do I do?
Then you watch, you read everything they did. Now you practice it. Now let's see what this shit really work.
Can you that came before me? What else do I do?
Then you watch, you read everything they did. Practice it. Now you practice. Let's see what this shit really work. People just you in funny clothes. 1800 or something like that. Even if
What tips would you give me? What tips
If
from a lot of people?
everybody here's gonna fight for what they love for. Even if they never had fight.
Want to be the best of the best of the best. Like you became a heavyweight champion, youngest ever. If I want to be the best in my sport, say this business, what tips would you give me? I want to be the best in our business. This business. This is insurance. They're building their businesses. But just the mindset of wanting to be the best. What is the mindset? What is the mindset you can transfer to somebody being the best?
If I had the first guy really succeeded on this shit, probably 1900 or something. Even if you were the crook, let's go from there and go all the way there and read all the way to you. Okay.
So one study history.
Yeah. Study until it gets to you. And then you're like, those people just you in funny clothes.
Okay. So one, fantastic. I gotta go study this for everybody that came before me. What else do I do?
Then you watch, you read everything they did. Now you practice it. Now let's see what this shit really work.
Just be crypto value, right? It's just a crypto value. And when I'm saying value could be anything that you transfer to somebody and it has value, or you put it on the blockchain or distributed ledger technology. That has value. Once you transfer. Whenever we ask information to somebody else, we get confusing theory, okay? And so when it comes to day trading, one of the techniques coming from the best, Robert Kawasaki, right? Coming from the best, he says the way he makes money is basically by buying as the stock goes down. Like right now, you buying as it goes down. But then you'll be happier once you start to go up. But now you can't do that with any type of cryptocurrency. You cannot do that with any type of stocks. I've already pull up the Akoin created by Akoin, the author, humanitarian, the launch, so many more accolades that we go. So now, be able to do what he said. Like I explained, the light bulb is light up the whole. As long as the wires or structures or ways of construction has not been created, that's what it's a dead plant. Dead plant. You can read on it. You can read on what really goes on over here. I think Google describes it as a hipster place. This place has about 98 different nationalities. It's a small island, but 98 life, right? It's a taste of an island life. It's not, I wouldn't say that it's an island type of place. Like that. But if you're a taste of what an YouTubers that been talking a lot about China. China.
Can you teach desire, or the desire has to come from somebody?
You can inspire the desire, but can you teach it? I don't know. I never had to try to teach anybody that.
Nobody had to teach you to fire because you had it. It was within you. They that came before me. What else did I do?
Yeah, and then go for
A lot of people in a different industry. Okay, I want to be the best of the best of the best. Like you became a heavyweight champion, youngest ever. If I want to be the best in my sport, say this business, what tips would you give me? I want to be the best in our business. This business. This is insurance. They're building their businesses. But just the mindset of wanting to be the best. What is the mindset you can transfer to somebody being the
Like,
best?
just find out the first guy really succeeded on this shit, probably like 1900s, something like that. Even if you were a crook, go from there and go all the way there and read all the way till you get to you. Okay?
So one, study history.
Yeah. Study until it gets to you. And then you realize those people were just you in funny clothes.
Okay. So one, fantastic. I got to go study this for everybody that came before me. What else do I do?
Then you watch it, you read everything they did. Now you practice it. Now let's see if this shit really works.
Somebody being the
Like,
best.
just like find out the first guy really there.
I want to be the best in my sport, say this business. What tips would you give me? I want to be the best in our business. This business. This is insurance. They're building their businesses. But just the mindset of wanting to be the best. What is the mindset you can transfer to somebody being the
Like,
best?
just like find out the first guy really succeeded on this shit, probably 1900s or something like that. Even if you were a crook, just go from there and go all the way there and read all the way till you get to you. Okay?
So one, study history.
Yeah. Study until it gets to you. And then you realize those people were just you in funny clothes.
Okay. So one, I want to be the best in my sport, say this business. What tips would you give me? I want to be the best in our business. This business. This is insurance. They're building a business. But just the mindset of wanting to be the best. What is the mindset transfer to somebody being the
Like,
best?
just find the first guy really succeeded on this shit. Probably 1900 or something like that. Even if he was a crook, just go from there and go all the way there and read all the way till you get to you. Okay?
So one, study history.
Yeah, study it till it gets to you. And then you realize those were just you in funny clothes.
Okay. So one, fantastic. I got to go study history. Everybody before me. What else do I do?
Then you watch, you read everything they did. Now you practice it. Now let's see if this shit really works.
早晚用50位男攝肉法擊會精華，對準後前擠6至7下，輕輕按摩。
This party of China has affected every single person, whether is it pointing out the problems with the Communist Party of China and the dangers of the Communist Party of China and the dangers of what China is doing to the world right now, if I can't offer some solutions in return. Because there's no point moaning about something all the time or complaining about something unless you have a way to fix it or change it. Of course, there is a lot of merit to talking about the missteps and the bad policies and the bad things that are going on in China because it raises awareness. And by raising awareness, hopefully the right person sees that and starts to take action. Or your eyes get opened up and you start to realize, hang on a second, something's been happening, something sinister has been happening under my nose this entire time. So of course there's a benefit to it, but I am here to offer you some solutions today. A lot of people don't realize just how much they are contributing to the success of the Communist Party of China. Now, there's nothing wrong with contributing to the success of the people of China. I love the people of China. I'm married to a Chinese person. I have Chinese family. I want nothing but the best for the people of China. But unfortunately, what we're seeing is we're seeing a growing power within the Communist Party of China. And the Communist Party of China is is a threat to the entire world. I'm not fear-mongering here. I'm telling the truth. The Communist Party of China is a threat to the very freedoms that you have enjoyed up until this point in life, or perhaps the very freedoms you've been seeking up until this point in life. Just take a look around you. Have you noticed how our entertainment industry has been changed by the Communist Party of China? How films have to change their narratives to suit their needs? How sports have to be silent about human rights atrocities and sports stars. When you mention anything about Tibet or Xinjiang or anything like that, and you get shut down, and your NBA or whoever it is that you play for will kick you out or silence you or make you apologize to China. It's really shaping the narrative of free speech around the world. Heck, look at the COVID situation right now. This is something that came about because of the Communist Party of China and the way it dealt with the pandemic in the early days, allowing it to spread without giving warning to the rest of the world when it very well knew that it had human-to-human transmission. They told everyone it didn't, and they knew it did. They blocked people from traveling domestically in and out of Wuhan. They locked it down, but they allowed people to travel internationally. And the virus spread from China. So all the restrictions, all the jobs lost, all the lives lost up until now can be squarely pointed at the Communist Party of China. Make no mistake. Their missteps led to the current situation. There are many aspects around the world, climate change, because of the huge amount of carbon, CO2 that China is pumping out into the atmosphere. The fact that they keep increasing their carbon emissions year upon year rather than reducing them like the rest of the world. The fact that the environment and the seas are being outfished is affecting you and will affect you in many ways. The fact that real estate around the world has been ramped up to extremes because of corrupt Chinese officials investing all their money and funneling all their money out of China into Canada, the United States, Australia, etc. The fact that our universities kowtow to the Communist Party of China. The fact that you've got Confucius Institutes and other Chinese communist propaganda departments operating from within our universities, not only to the detriment of the Chinese students studying there, but of course to the detriment of all students studying there. Look, there's a lot that the Communist Party of China has been doing. And one of the biggest, most worrying factors is they've been taking investment money from things like pension funds and using that money to develop their military. Your pension fund very possibly has contributed to building missiles and other military technology which has armed the Communist Party of China, made it stronger, and made it this terrible, belligerent bully. Building all these false islands in the South China Sea, claiming land that doesn't belong to them, expanding everywhere, doing all this expansionism, this neo-colonialism into Africa, all sorts of things. Look, the Communist Party of China has affected every single person, whether you think they have or not.
Enemy cruiser destroyed.
And you're helping them. Most people are helping them, either through ignorance, which of course you can't blame people for not realizing it, or through kind of a willful dismissal of what's really going on. The problem is it's getting to a point now where it's very hard to ignore what the Communist Party of China is doing. Here are some solutions for you. You as an individual might not think that you really have much recourse when it comes to the Communist Party of China. But you support them more than you know. Think about it. How does that work? Well, every single time you invest in a Chinese company, every single time you buy a Chinese product on Amazon or in the shop, that money goes back to China. It goes back to a Chinese company, which in turn goes back to the Chinese economy, which in turn goes to the CCP. Remember, the CCP controls all companies in China. They have to kowtow to the Communist Party of China. The Communist Party of China also plays very unfairly. They make it so that the products made in China will be cheaper no matter what than your locally produced product. So they force out jobs. They force out manufacturing from different countries. And the way they do this is through a lot of sleight of hand and a lot of tricks, the foremost of which being that they claim to be a developing country. Now, I mean, I've traveled all around China. Motorcycle. I've been in the most rural parts of China. I've been in the flashiest parts of China. And I would classify China as a developing country. As soon as you leave the cities, hey, look, even in the cities themselves, you still see a lot of very backwards ways of dealing with certain things like garbage removal, things like the sewers, things like, just the way infrastructure is kind of dealt with. There's a lot of backward stuff. But you hit the rural parts of China, and yes, it's the population that's very poor. What kind of a developing country? I mean, think about it. When you think
Right? Is it something that comes from you or the money?
Think of a developing country, what comes to mind? For me, it's usually something like a country in Africa or the Middle East where people are struggling to get water, where there isn't enough infrastructure built there, where they need help, they need aid, they need as much help as they can get because they are still developing. That's a developing country. China is sending probes to the moon. They are sending rovers.
My man here, and the example that he gave.
This to Mars. They have a space program. It's about time we cancelled this whole idea of China being a developing country. Because they claim that they're a developing country, and this gives them massive tax breaks. This gives them massively preferential trade agreements with the rest of the world in the WTO. So they don't pay taxes, they don't pay high shipping fees, they get all sorts of subsidies, the government also subsidizes, and they cheat the system. So that's why it's cheaper, and I've said this many times, for somebody in Shenzhen, in mainland China, to send a little widget. It doesn't matter what it is, a tiny little gadget that costs $1. Send it to your door with free shipping. I cannot send something that costs $1 to my neighbor for free shipping. Everything I send costs me money, and so they have this very unfair advantage of making everyone else out of the competition. So, of course, let's move on from that. How can you combat this? Well, there's a couple of things. And I'm going to start with the one that probably every single person, every one of you, and that is when you're shopping on Amazon, to make the right choices. You see, Amazon, like any other big corporation, it's all about their bottom line. How much money can they make? How much profit can they make? So they tend to push to the top the cheapest, easiest to manufacture products. And a lot of the Amazon choice products that pop up there, or the spotlight promoted ones, etc., are usually some kind of cheap Chinese product. But because we see the Amazon logo on there, or say it's a Prime, product or whatever, we tend to think it's probably pretty good and just buy it anyway. Well, that's not always the best thing to do. And also remember, Chinese sellers are very good at artificially boosting their products. They have recently closed how many fake accounts? They've got bot farms to go out there and give fake reviews, boost things to the top, take other products which are the competition of that product, and downvote them and give them fake bad reviews. It's a very unscrupulous kind of a situation. Most Chinese sellers are doing something dodgy in one way or the other. And this is well documented. There have been many crackdowns that some of you look at. But Amazon is very clever, and they're very good at hiding where these products are manufactured or where the sellers come from. So when you're buying something on Amazon, it just looks like every other product that you're looking for. You wouldn't be able to tell if it's American-made or made in Singapore or made in Taiwan or made in China or whatever. You wouldn't know. It's just, there it is. It's got the product name. It might say in the description somewhere, but it's just very difficult to tell. There's a browser plugin which I'll introduce you and show you how to work near the end of the video, which will help you figure out if you're buying from China or not. I understand that it is tough. We've reached a point now where the majority of products in the world, especially smaller, cheaper little electronics, USB cables like that, are more or less exclusively made in China. But you take a look, because if the brand is an American brand or a French brand or a different kind of brand that is getting their product manufactured in China, it's still the bet between evils. Because that means the majority of the money will not be going to a Chinese company, hence it won't be going.
Okay, here's my. So, I'm understanding. Again, I'm trying to understand why. So, China has more money. Again, you lost. You lost.
manufactured in China, it's still the better of two evils. Because that means if the brand is an American brand or a French brand or a different kind of brand that is getting their product manufactured in China, it's still the better of two evils in China. But you can take a look, because if the brand is an American brand or a French brand or a different kind of brand that is getting their product manufactured in China, it's still the in China. But you can take a look, because if the brand is an American brand or a French brand or a different kind of brand that is getting their product in China. But you can take a look, because if the brand is an American brand or a French brand or a different kind of brand that is getting their product manufactured in China, it's still the better of two evils. Because that means
But in China, what we came up with is let's not buy anything.
means the majority of the money will not be going to a Chinese company, hence it won't be going to the Chinese Communist Party. What you need to do in that case is be selective when you buy products. Don't just buy the first thing that pops up. Do a little bit of research. And also, I can tell you from my own personal experience, if you go for a slightly more expensive, well-known brand, they usually end up lasting longer anyway and costing you less in the long run. I've learned this the hard way. I was one of those guys who, you know, especially when I was living in China, you can look at some of my old videos. I'd be like, hey, why can't I just get a Chinese phone that's just as good as getting a, you know, a Western brand, a well-known brand? It does everything the same. Guess what? I don't have any of those anymore. They all.
I gotta go. This video, coming from bloggers. So, not knocking my man's knowledge, because he lived there 10 years. And so, this is his observation. And that's how he came to the point where he realized that's hoping that, well, I'm not hoping, but I know that once you do something and you distracted, you're about you will to a conclusion, and then if the solution within this is stop buying things from China, that's where I feel like the scientific method